How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. So over on Dixie for the daily, we are continuing to bounce off that 300 EMA. We did see crypto pull back in response, so now they are acting more inversely related like we have seen in the past. So we will delete this channel. It's pretty played out at this point. Our stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing up, momentum is gaining strength, and the money flow is still holding bearish. But if that VWAP holds bullish, we will see momentum continue forward and money flow could start to reverse. That would give us the potential to run up. Over on the 4-hour, stochastic is running away, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding, VWAP does want to break that neutral, and money flow is trying to break on the bullish side. But if that VWAP breaks down, momentum will round and money flow would reject. That would result in the daily weakening. We won't spend too much more time there. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are pushing up. We did run up to that value area high. We got bearish engulfing candles, so we could see further losses from here. Remember, that just means that our altcoins will probably hold their value better than Bitcoin. Stochastic is pulling back. We have orange above blue. RSI is dropping. Momentum is rounding. VWAP does want to break that neutral with lower highs and lower lows, bringing momentum lower and causing money flow to sell off. If that VWAP does break our neutral, we could see dominance slip into a bearish trend and start to break down. Again, that doesn't mean Bitcoin has to break down. Over on total for the daily, we did pull back into the golden pocket like we warned about. We did push down about a third of our move down. I would watch if we can't make it bounce from here. It's very likely we could pull back to that 602 level and possibly break that if we're not careful. Stochastic is starting to sell off. Momentum is rounding with a red dot, suggesting it does want to roll away as VWAP breaks into the bearish territory. If that VWAP continues to break down, bringing momentum lower, money flow will weaken, and we will see the trend go from slightly bullish into the bearish trend. Over on the 4-hour, remember, total does lead our altcoins, so if total decreases, our altcoins likely will decrease with it. Momentum is pushing into the bearish territory. VWAP is favoring bearish, causing the momentum to favor bearish. Our money flow is starting to pull back. Stochastic is pretty beat down, RSI is dropping, and that is bringing price action lower with it. Over on the 2-hour, we are starting to struggle with our EMAs. We were trying to hold above lower EMAs and continue up, but we broke through them and we have been trending down since. So I would watch if we can't regain some of these EMAs and hold above them. It's likely we could drop away from here. Our VWAP is trying to break bullish. We do have higher lows. Watch if we can get a strong high. If we can get a strong high and stay above the zero, momentum could push up, money flow could remain bullish, and we could see a bounce from here. However, if we do not see that VWAP gain strength, it's likely we will round away. We do have lower highs with lower lows, and they do not connect very well, so this could make a bearish continuation channel. Remember, a bearish continuation channel does break you lower. We did hit that 300 EMA and bounce, so that is the kind of light we have here. If we can continue above this EMA and break above those lower EMAs and hold, then we will push forward. However, if we start rejecting these higher EMAs above us, we will start to pull back, push down to that 300 again, and if we break that, that's where we would see that push to our 602. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pretty flat, but if stochastic breaks down, RSI will follow. That VWAP does want to round away. We are in the bullish territory with a slightly stronger wave than before, but if we break for the bearish territory, momentum will remain bearish and money flow will reject. Now again, would result in the higher time frames starting to weaken, so I would exercise caution. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are seeing a pretty decent drop down here. We did reject that point of control, and we are trying to push that 65.5. We did bounce off that psychological area. There is a chance we could bounce and continue. We would want to watch lower time frames, to see if that is possible. However, I would still like to see that gap fill. We pull back, hit that gap, and then continue forward around that 58K. Stochastic is pulling back. RSI is pretty flat. Above stochastic continues to drop. RSI will follow. Momentum does want to round. VWAP has lower highs and lower lows, bringing momentum lower and causing that money flow to remain bearish. If that does not reverse, it's likely we would continue lower. Over on the 4-hour, we do have higher highs. We could make higher lows, but we really don't have a trend yet, so I would exercise caution. We are overall pushing down. We are rejecting our lower EMAs. If we follow this green candle with the red candle and reject these EMAs, there's a likelihood we would break that 65.5, then continue lower. Momentum is breaking bearish as that VWAP favors bearish, and money flow is starting to pull back as a result. Stochastic is dropping down, RSI is weakening, so overall we don't look too positive there. Over on the 2 hour, we are in a bit of a down channel. This down channel really doesn't connect very well, so that could be a bearish continuation to bring us lower. Remember, we do have the gap above, so if we fill the gap below, we could bounce, get that higher low with higher highs, and push forward. Momentum is breaking down, VWAP is favoring bearish, money flow does want to push up. Our stochastic is trying to gain strength, and RSI does want to push forward, but watch that VWAP close. If it rejects here, we're likely going to pull away. Over on the 1 hour, our VWAP is trying to break into bullish territory, but it's very weak, so I would watch. The lows right now are stronger than the highs. If that continues, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will reject, and price action will continue to slide. I would watch if we do break this 65.5. Our next support is going to be around that 300 EMA, around that 63.5. So if that VWAP cannot stay above this neutral, we likely will pull back, hit that 65.5, make another chance at breaking it, and then continue lower. Remember, we do still have that gap below us, but we also have the gap above us that could help us in the long run. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are rounding. We do have a reversal arrow suggesting we could see a trend reversal. We were running up, now we're pushing down, so we could continue lower. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is pulling back. That momentum has a red dot signaling it wants to round away as that VWAP breaks into the bearish territory. So if VWAP sustains a bearish push, momentum will break down and money flow will follow. Over on the 4 hour, we did have a little bit of consolidation we were trying to happen, and then we did reject it. So overall, we are starting to push lower. I would exercise caution and watch lower time frames. Momentum is breaking into the bearish territory as that VWAP favors bearish, and money flow is weakening as a result. If this continues, we could see a trend reversal here, and that would weaken the daily. Stochastic is pretty beat down, RSI is falling, and that is making price action follow. Over on the 2 hour, if we can get things to load here, looks like we're losing some connection all over all of a sudden. There we go, just a little lag there. Over on the 2 hour, we are breaking down. We have lower highs with lower lows. These may connect unlike futures, but I wouldn't bet too much against futures because remember, futures does bleed Bitcoin. So despite this being a little bit of a bullish channel that could try to push us up, we do have that futures gap, and futures does look a little more bearish. RSI is dropping, stochastic is favoring bearish, VWAP is favoring that bearish territory, trying to break up. If that VWAP can break up, making a higher high, then get higher lows, we could see momentum push forward, and that could help push us up as well. Looks like our video is suffering, so let me know if you're having any issues. I really can't change any of the stream settings, it looks like. It won't let me change in the middle, so hopefully you're still with us. But we are trying to push forward. We are coming up to the top of this channel. This would be where you want that breakup. We would need a strong green candle. If we don't get a strong green candle, there's a chance we could reject the top, push lower toward the bottom, and get a third touch to the bottom. That would be where we could invalidate it, then fall to our 300 EMA. Our RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is starting to round, that VWAP is starting to push down, momentum does want to gain strength, but with that VWAP and stochastic kind of struggling, we could see a pull back still, so I would watch that VWAP very close. We have very weak highs here. We need stronger highs with higher lows to help push us up and make us break that top. If we do not get the higher highs with higher lows, and we see that VWAP break neutral, it's likely we would reject, push down to the bottom, and then that's where we could see that breakdown and invalidation of that slight bullish channel. Over on graph for the daily, we are seeing the double top start to push us down near that neckline, so I would exercise caution. Remember, if we break that level, it's likely we could continue lower. Our stochastic is starting to push down with orange above blue. RSI is falling, momentum is rounding with a red dot as that VWAP breaks down, suggesting momentum could continue lower and weaken that money flow. Again, that would result in more sell-off here. Over on the 4 hour, we are below our EMA band and we are continuing lower, so I would exercise caution. Remember, if we continue below that band, it's likely we would continue to break down. VWAP is favoring bearish, but we have higher lows. If we can break that neutral and gain strength, that will help push momentum higher, and we could see a run up. However, if that VWAP remains in the bearish territory and rejects crossing neutral, we will see momentum bring money flow down, and that will in turn weaken that daily and give us that reversal on the daily as well. Over on our 2 hour, we are below our EMA band, struggling to get above that green EMA. Remember, if we can't get above and hold that, we're going to continue lower. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is falling as a result. VWAP is starting to favor a little bearish. We're kind of zigzagging around, so VWAP is not very decisive on the 2 hour. Momentum is breaking down and money flow is rejecting, so I would watch that VWAP close. With it being so indecisive, it could go one way or the other right now. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to round away, so if stochastic breaks down, RSI will follow and bring price action lower again. We have lower highs with lower lows. They don't really connect too well, so remember that is that bearish continuation. Momentum does want to push up, but if that VWAP does break down after getting this lower high and then we see a lower low, the bears will gain control. Momentum would stay bearish, money flow would reject, and those higher time frames would start to weaken. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are pushing our support level of that 3076. Momentum does want to round away, stochastic is dropping, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is rejecting. So overall, I would exercise caution. We are seeing more bearish momentum here than bullish. Over on the 4 hour, we are breaking that support, but that is a long lower shadow, so if followed by a strong green candle, we could make a rounding bottom, push up, retest that 300 EMA. However, if followed by a red candle, we're likely going to push back to that 2883. RSI is starting to drop, stochastic is falling, money flow is pulling back, that VWAP is in a bearish trend. We rejected crossing neutral and we have consistent lows. If this continues, momentum will continue to fall and money flow will weaken and possibly flip into the red and start to bring that daily lower. Over on the 2 hour, we did bounce off the 300 EMA. I would just exercise caution because if we cannot break above this resistance area of that 3079, it's likely we will make a retest of that EMA. And if we do break it, then we will push down to that 2883. Stochastic is falling, RSI is dropping away, VWAP is favoring bearish, but we have higher lows, so watch if we can get a higher high. If we can get a higher high and stay above neutral, we could push up, but if the VWAP rejects here, we will see consistent lows with lower highs that would bring momentum lower and cause money flow to sell off, which would in turn show people are selling more than they're buying. Over on the 1 hour, we have several gaps all over. Remember, Ankr does love its gaps. Stochastic is pulling back. RSI is pretty flat, but if stochastic continues lower, RSI will bring price action down. VWAP is struggling, so I would watch. We do want to break bullish, but we're struggling to break through and hold. If we cannot break through and hold, we would reject, see momentum drop, and money flow would go from green to red. However, if that VWAP can get a higher high and sustain above that neutral, momentum would start to gain strength, money flow could remain bullish, and those higher time frames would strengthen. So over on XRP for the daily, we did push down to our 394. We do have a green dot that does signal we want to run forward, but again, I don't really trade on those. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is starting to fall, momentum does have a red dot signaling it does want to pull back as that VWAP struggles to maintain a trend. Money flow does want to pull back, so if that VWAP breaks down, we will see momentum give up strength and money flow will follow. Over on the 4 hour, stochastic is dropping away, RSI is following, momentum is dropping as that VWAP favors bearish. If that VWAP does not cross this neutral, momentum will break bearish and money flow will start to weaken. That will in turn weaken the 4 hour and the daily. Over on the 2 hour, we are trying to hold above that 57. Remember, if we don't hold above this, we're going to hit that 54, then our 50, and possibly our 45. Those are our critical support resistance areas. RSI is dropping, stochastic is running up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum does want to push forward, and money flow is green. So we do look decent. That VWAP needs to stay in a bullish trend though. If that VWAP pulls back and then favors bearish, momentum would reject and money flow would pull back. However, right now we do look geared to continue forward. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to round away, RSI is following, VWAP does want to break down, so watch that VWAP close. If it breaks down and holds, momentum will reject and money flow will go from green to red, and we will see those higher time frames start to sell off. Over on ALGO for the daily, we are seeing that double top play out here as well. We did pull back near our neckline, so again, exercise caution. If we continue to see the market pull back, it's likely we could break that 1350. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is following, momentum is rounding away, VWAP is bearish and money flow is selling off, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 4 hour, we have red candle after red candle, not much retracement, so that does have the potential to push forward. Remember, a quick move one way is retrace by and move the opposite way. RSI is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is breaking down, so if that VWAP rejects, momentum would remain bearish and money flow will pull bearish as well. However, if that VWAP can break and hold, we will see momentum gain strength and money flow could make a bounce. Watch the lower time frames to see if that's possible. Over on the 2 hour, we rejected that 300 EMA and we are rejecting our lowest EMA, the green one. So if we continue to reject here, we will continue to pull back, possibly hitting that neckline and continuing lower. RSI is dropping, stochastic is favoring bearish, VWAP is nowhere to be seen, and momentum is pretty beat down. If that VWAP does not gain bullish strength, money flow will stay in the bearish territory and the 4 hour will weaken, and we could see that start to weaken the daily if we're not careful. Over on the 1 hour, we have that bearish continuation we're seeing across our other coins. Stochastic is dropping away, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is bullish, but it's very weak, so I would watch. That could easily reverse and cause momentum to drop and bring money flow lower. However, if we do make a bounce here, we want to see a higher high. If we can get a higher high, momentum could push up and money flow could gain strength. If that holds over several hours, then we could start to strengthen other time frames. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.